I would love to see Longview Kelso be the place that everybody wants to be. Yeah. I want the tourism here. We've got the Columbia River and we've got the Cowlitz River. We've got things that would draw people. We're an hour from the mountains, an hour from the ocean. We should be the gateway to everything. And so...
Welcome, Monica Seidl. This is so exciting for me because we have been building a relationship over the last couple months. Aaron Hart pointed us in the same direction, said, "You got to meet this lady. She's really a lot like you," which I think what she meant. I hope it was a good thing. I think what she meant was she likes to get stuff done, and you like to get stuff done. You guys would probably enjoy talking together. And then we found out we have something really cool in common, which is a whole nation, Belize, which is the place that I felt like my first release into ministry. So that was a big deal for me. And we just been building a relationship. And Monica works for the Council of Governments. Mm-hmm. She has for the last year. And but I think your journey over the last 20 years is pretty interesting. So maybe you could talk about what it's been like, maybe not the specifics, but what it's been like to grow through this last journey over the last 20 years.
Sure. I do think it's always been a growing and stepping stone in life. And so 20 years ago, working at a restaurant with kids in school, and then emerging into banking world. And it's where I thought I would stay for until retirement, because that's what our parents do. They find career type positions and you end out. And then all of a sudden life happens and COVID happens. 20 years ago, I started going on missions trips as well to Ecuador was my first one, but South America, Central America. And that has really been a huge changing point in my life as well. Yeah.
And spent 20 years in banking, which is a long time. And you went from teller to bank manager.
Yeah, I worked my way from the bottom up. It was starting as a 20-hour teller, and then worked up to new accounts, and then eventually up to manager. And I spent the last 10 years being the manager of the same location, Clatskanie. I never went very far. I've always been within an hour of Longview, and this is my heart.
Yeah. And you don't seem to be intimidated by hardly anything. I mean, like taking on new things, learning new things, trying new things. It just seems to be part of who you are, Monica, right?
I used to be really intimidated.
Really?
I was the golden retriever. So when you do those personality tests, I was very, very strongly golden retriever 20 years ago, and a little bit of lion. And I've always had the playful side. Now, I think that a little bit of that has transitioned, and through experiences and through opportunities, I've really been able to become comfortable with some of the things that I do in my life. And I think that confidence has really started to evolve and change into leadership.
So does the confidence come from feeling capable of what you're doing, or does the confidence come from a track record of getting stuff done?
I think that's the latter of them, because I really was insecure and intimidated when I was younger, and being put in different opportunities that stretch your personality and stretch you. Going to a different country and doing missions work, my goodness, that will stretch you all the time. And you have to learn to be flexible. You have to learn when there's nothing you can anticipate. And it just is one of those things, you wake up every day and you see miracles and you see amazing things, and you're so thankful for what you have. So year after year, building on that confidence. I would go every other year, something like that. I took a 5-year break and didn't do any missions work. But through that time and that growth, then I just became more confident every time we were going and a new group was going. I started as just the traveler and the entry level, and then I ended as leading teams to Brazil.
Yeah, and fell in love with Belize enough to buy a home there.
Yeah, that was not planned either. I always thought I would be in Brazil. When I was doing missions work, I just really connected with the people down there. I took my kids. I wanted them to see and experience a third world country. And actually, the first time I went to Brazil in 2005, I didn't think I would ever go back. It broke my heart to be in the poverty and to see the children and the favelas I honestly thought, I don't think I can go back there. Language is a barrier, being Portuguese, and never say never. God will always put that right back in front of you and give you that opportunity to go right back to where you said, no, I will never go back there. And I took them, and it was absolutely one of the most life-changing trips for me and transitional, because then I started opening my home and inviting people from Brazil to come live with me, to stay with me. We had an extra bedroom. Why not let them just stay? And they took advantage of LCC. Chris Bailey has a great program over there teaching English as a second language. $25 to read, write, speak, and improve your skills. These kids, college kids, they had it, but they had never applied it. So being able to be here and use it, they would stay for 3 months, a year.
So you've made this transition to COG, Council of Governments. When you tell people who you work for, or when you walk in with your name tag that says council, people have no idea what that is.
None.
Do you ever get tired of just telling people, explain to people what Council of Governments is?
You know, I like to be able to explain it because I didn't even know what it was. And I had known the executive director for a couple years through Rotary. And when I came back from Belize last year, and 2 days later, I go into my Rotary Club and said, hey, I'm unemployed. I need a job. If anybody has suggestions. And he approached me and said, if you're serious, I think I have something that you could work on. I said, I don't even know what you do. I know it's Council of Government, so it's got to be something, with the government, county level. And he goes, well, send me an application and we'll have that discussion. Now I explain it as it's the center of giving. COG does not stand for Council of Government.
I love that.
It stands for Center of Giving, because we are that mediary between federal and state dollars and tax dollars getting down into the community where it needs to be distributed into our actual projects and plans. So it's a planning agency, and Bill explains it completely differently than I do. He has the actual verbiage down pat, and I have to kind of just plagiarize and say, we're the Center of Giving. So that helps.
Well, the thing I've kind of picked up from just having conversations with you is that you're not after being the hero of anything. You're trying to help heroes get where they want to go, right? Try to bring financing in, structure in, give them a pathway to be successful. I mean, that's a pretty cool place to do life, giving that way.
It is, and I would say I have that hero complex. I want to save the day. I want to be the one helping. I want to make the difference. And so, even in banking, I looked at it as a completely different approach than anybody else. I was the one that could make their dreams come true by helping them buy their first car, buy a house, go on their very first vacation, retire. So for me, I think that's where it developed. That was my approach to it, is these people are my friends and my family, especially coming from a small town like Cowlitz. They were all my friends and family. I had 100 of them on my cell phone personally, and I knew their kids, their dogs, their whole lives. So why wouldn't I want to help in that way? So transitioning into the Council of Government was finding that way for myself to be able to help. So now I help small business owners be able to get creative financing. Seeing the need because of the banking side. I hated turning somebody down for a loan. I didn't want to tell them no. And so I wanted to tell them how. I mean, that's my motto in life. Don't tell me no, tell me how. That's one of the reasons why I've strengthened over time as well, and evolved and grown in those types of things. Is I really know is not in my vocabulary, and I don't use it very often to other people as well. So looking at ways that I could help strengthen our community.
Well, that was what I was thinking too. A lot of times people, when they get an idea, the first thing they see is the obstacles to making it happen. And they get fixated on the obstacles. And you are becoming an expert at removing obstacles for people. Oh, no, you can do this. You can do this. All you have to do is this, this, and this, and you can see this thing, your dream happen. So I'm interested, what goes on in your head when you see somebody with an obstacle in front of them? What are you thinking?
Certainly the process of how do we get to the end. Life's a journey. I'm a bumper sticker and a cliche and I got a phrase for just about everything, and I read all the books, the self-help, and my husband says all the time, you don't need another book to he doesn't want signs all over the house that say, keep smiling, you can do it. But that is what I do, is I just look at it and I love connecting the dots. I love that puzzle piece, putting it all together. I hate puzzles. Oh, don't ever get me to sit down and do a puzzle, because I don't have time to sit there and focus that long. I'm a little bit of a squirrel.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely are busy in your head, which I love that. I think I have an appreciation for that, because I don't think it's a distraction at all. I think it's invigorating, and I think it gives you the desire to be even more creative and innovative and things like that. So I think that's a great soil to work from, having that kind of a mindset. But it also, you get frustrated when people tell you no. No, we can't do that. No, that can't happen. No, you're not going to get that financing. But you don't seem to give up quickly, easily.
No, I don't.
Let's get it out of the way.
Yeah, I don't.
Can you talk a little bit about, somebody bought an ambulance, and they're going to have the ambulance filled with medical supplies and driven down to a country in South America, and or Central America, and open a medical clinic. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, gosh, I've heard this crazy rumor that this lady's just running around town, just, having all these meetings and throwing out all these flyers. The Belize story really has evolved. 6 years ago, my boyfriend at the time and I went on vacation there. I wanted to introduce him to the international world, and if he was going to be a part of my life, that was something I needed to share with him and show him. And Belize was the easiest, with it being English speaking and so close. And we loved it. Had the best vacation, the best experience, and we went back the next year, and he proposed on the steps of the Caracal ruins. So when you're there, and it's just this magical place, and there's that, in your heart. So I said yes, and we fell in love with Belize and each other, and the next year we went back down and bought some property, and we've built a house, and the village that's near us is about 2 miles away. And every time I kept going down there, that's my new home away from home. And I've adopted the little community, and we've now opened a library. And through COVID, we could see the need. The community just had such a strong need. So it started as me and the neighbor having a conversation, and it exploded. We've had newscasters up there that have just recorded the studio. We've had the community step up. And this abandoned building has now become a community library for Belize. And when I was there last year, finishing the project, it was like, what do I do next? And
your husband is saying, I thought we were coming here to rest.
Yeah, I mean, it is supposed to be a vacation home, but that's snowbirding for 20 years down the road.
Yeah.
So for me now, it's what can I do and how can I help? And talking to the community members and the leaders down there, they just started navigating my thoughts. And of course, at first we can open a whole fire station and get a fire truck and an ambulance and all of these things together. And my husband said, start with one thing. You do really well when you focus really good on one thing.
Yeah.
And so talking to the community members down there, an ambulance was the game changer. And it was God walking in at the exact moment, Christmas week, putting it on my heart and orchestrating it, that I went to work and told my coworker, and she said, here's an ambulance for sale. Leave work, go right now to where my husband is retiring, and this is the ambulance he has drove and worked on.
So funny.
And it honestly just all fell together. And in a month's time, we had the money. We were able to raise it almost instantaneously. I just shared my heart, shared the story, and shared our previous success. And why wouldn't that make sense to have that? So we bought the ambulance. I went down there. I worked with the Ministry of Health. We're bringing it next month in October, actually. And the medical clinic is there, but we are going to improve it and maximize it to the nth degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are getting their ambulance. You got it from Kalama, right?
Yeah, Kalama
Yeah, so
Fire
it's a
Station.
local ambulance that's now going to be in Belize, packed with stuff that's going to really help them do medical care at a much higher level, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have some Altrusa volunteers going with me on the trip. I have some community members. I have a pediatrician, a doctor, medical assistant. So while we're there, we're going to be having an open clinic for a week of all kinds of triage and care, and then training the people to have the ambulance there, and then working at the library as well.
Yeah, this is what I mean by get it done. This is you have this amazing ability to stay focused and also funnel a lot of energy into one thing, not a little thing. But so as we look at our community, because you really care about Cowlitz County,
Yes.
what would you like to throw yourself into as far as Cowlitz? What would you like to see happen here? Yeah, big picture. I mean, you and I have talked about dreams. You've got some big dreams.
Yes.
What are a couple of those? You don't have to tell us how we're going to get there, but just what are the big things you'd like to see happen?
I would love to see Longview Kelso be the place that everybody wants to be.
Yeah.
I want the tourism here. We've got the Columbia River and we've got the Cowlitz River. We've got things that would draw people. We're an hour from the mountains, an hour from the ocean. We should be the gateway to everything.
Yeah.
And so, I want our community to be vibrant. I want businesses. I want to be able to walk around at night and instead of going to another city and having little shops and little restaurants, I want that feeling here. I want prevailing wages so my kids don't have to live someplace else to provide for them. I really do want us to be that planned city that we were 100 years ago and come back to that and really see the community pull together and it no longer be a mill working town or a timber town. I just want it to be a community and a family type community.
Yeah. And you've got some ideas how we could get there.
Yeah. And one of it is we really have to work on getting housing so people will actually have a place to live here. We have to work on getting together the businesses so they feel supported so that they can create revenue. Right now, I think I heard a fifth of our teachers and higher educators live all the way down in Clark County and they commute up to our area. So we need to have, business owners and higher executives be able to have houses just as well as lower income because we need to have that full spectrum of housing.
Yeah, I think people are willing to come here. One of the reasons I think they still live there is because they're wanting to see if we can have anything to offer them.
Right.
So they'll come here for jobs and stay living where they're at. They really would love to move here if we can bring to the table what they really want in their life, the kind of access to things, recreation, entertainment, social life, that kind of thing that they're really looking for.
Yeah.
And so I think you're right. I think that we could change the culture in our community, and you're willing to do that, do your part. I'm willing to do my part.
Right.
And I think a lot of it is just getting together with people who have that same desire, that same dream, and dreaming together and seeing what we can accomplish, not just by ourselves, but as we work together.
And I think that there's a lot of pockets of people that are like that, but we have been operating in a siloed fashion. We have to start bringing everybody to come together and have those conversations because Parks and Rec, they do great things, all the businesses, they're working hard at what they're trying to accomplish individually.
Yeah.
Bringing everybody together for those types of common goals.
Well, you have a real heart for the college. You made a really good connection there and have some dreams about how you could not just get the college to do more, but create pathways for the college to have be a part of our community, create pathways for that. So maybe a couple of those ideas that you have for how the college could get more integrated into the community.
Well, the children are our future.
Yeah.
I mean, that's truly what it is. There's another cliche or another bumper sticker. They really are. And so you have to start there. You have to start impacting the young lives. And we don't want them to leave and go someplace else to finish their education. Both of my kids graduated LCC.
Ah.
And so, I have a passion to see my kids grow and stay here. And so for me, working with the college and looking at, culinary projects, ideas back into the community where the high school students can then transition easier into college because they've already been doing some of those types of classes. And then what do the business owners need? What do we need for startup businesses? Well, those people coming out of college need those connections almost immediately, because if they don't get them, they will find them someplace else.
Yeah, yeah. I love the way that you think. Just because you think like a leader. You don't think like somebody who's waiting for somebody to fix it for you or make it happen for you, but you think, how can we do this? I mean, that's the whole thing we hear from employers is, don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. And
Exactly.
that's really how you frame this whole thing up, Monica. I'm really excited about what could happen in the future, but also excited about the partnership that could exist between you and CityServe. And what I would love to see happen is much more cooperative efforts realized in the community, and I think you're a big part of that. I'm really excited about how you're growing, and I could do nothing more than encourage you in the days ahead to just keep going for it, because there's lots of room for you to lead in this community.